Hi, I'm Harry Siemens, and I'm reporting from the Prairie Livestock Expo. And today is Tim Friesen, Lakeview Insurance. Tim, welcome to the show, and tell me why you're here.
Well, thanks, Harry. Lakeview Insurance has been a proud supporter of Prairie Livestock Expo and predecessor shows for many, many years, and it's a place where we meet many of our clients and just give back to the community that has supported us.
And Tim, tell me, you and I have talked before about some of the things happening in the insurance business. So what are some of the key things? Why are you here at Prairie Livestock Expo?
Well, one of the things that we know is that not every insurance broker really understands or has the time to spend with agriculture, and it's something that's always been a big part of the history of our company. Our founder built his company on agriculture and supporting farmers and having farmers as clients, and it's just always a big part of what we do. We have a few offices in rural Manitoba. All of them have a big focus on agriculture, and so whether it's hogs or dairy or eggs or chicken or turkey or grain, we have the markets in our office that support that type of insurance. They understand it. They provide the support to the farmers. They understand a claim. They understand what it means when you have a claim on a farm. Not everybody does. And so that's important to us. It always has been, and it's just a real privilege to serve the agriculture community in Manitoba.
I remember when I first started as a farm journalist 47 years ago, there were things that were happening, but the barns were small and the capital investments were even smaller, and that's really changed over the last number of years.
Absolutely. The investment in structures and livestock and going even beyond that. What if you have something that happens on your farm and your income is affected for a long period of time, right? Those are all important things. The cost of farm equipment, and what happens if a piece of equipment goes down and you need to go get something to help you get the crop off the field. There's so much at stake these days, right? And so farmers are so good at risk management, and they spend a lot of time looking at things. And then those things that have to be covered off by insurance, that's where we step in and give them a hand.
So when we look at all the various things that you're insuring, you talked and mentioned that, but what are some of where do you spend more time in as far as the agricultural industry is concerned?
I'd say we probably, because of our situation in Winnipeg and southeastern Manitoba, I'd say our focus is probably a bit more on intensive livestock farming as opposed to larger grain farming. But even that is changing, even in our area here, as smaller farms are going to the side and larger farms are expanding. So we're starting to see more and more of larger grain farms and things like that too. So we're kind of an all-encompassing. If you do farming, whether it's hobby farming or whether you're farming 10,000 acres or whether you have 3 large barns, we have the markets and we have the experience to take care of all of that.
So what happens when somebody comes to you and they're looking for advice, they're looking for insurance, and so you need to, one can be a dairy guy, one can be a hog guy, one can be equipment, right? I mean, you do all of that, but where does it start?
Well, it usually starts with a visit to the farm, and I always tell anybody that actually wants to hear about what I do for work, the best part of my job is being on the farm, and I just really appreciate the hospitality of farming. It's very traditional that way. It would not be uncommon for us to go sit around the kitchen table and have some homemade cookies on the table and some coffee, and that's kind of how it starts. It's like, okay, tell me a little bit about your farm. What is it that maybe causes you not to sleep at night, and how can we help you do that, right?
Well, I remember too, a lot of farmers would ask me to come and tell their story. Well, guess what? I said, I'll tell you a story, but we're going to do that after a meal around the kitchen table, because that's when you really get to find out where it's at. And I'm sure that's the same thing with you.
Absolutely. We make a commitment to our clients. Our larger farm clients, we make a commitment to come see them every year, unless they don't want us to, but we try really hard to sit around that kitchen table every year because it's amazing how many things can change in a year, right? We live in an ever-changing world, and we need to be on top of that. And farmers are busy, and you'd be surprised, Harry, how many times we drive on a yard and I just go, oh, that building was not there when we were here last year, and we don't insure that, so we better do something about that today.
I was at a farm seminar planning session where they talked about insurance and the tax changes and everything else when it comes to insurance programs and so forth. Not so much your insurance, but they're always insurance are always looking after risk, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you mentioned that before. So then obviously you've got to convince that farmer and find out exactly what it is he needs, not always just what he wants.
Absolutely, and we understand that. We understand that price is a big component, right? We all live in a world where there's a lot of money gets spent, and we understand that price is an important part of the equation. But we try really hard to look at what is the right product for you, and can it be competitive? It may not be the cheapest, but maybe there's something there that has a lot of value for you that you should be spending more money on. And of course, when it comes to insurance, it's like claim service is number one, right? Like people keep writing checks for insurance, and they need to know that the day that they actually need their insurance to respond, that it will do so properly and quickly and to their satisfaction. So it's very important to us that the companies that we deal with are providing the best possible claim service they can.
So it isn't just your face and your company. The way things are operating, the insurance goes further and further.
Absolutely. So when a client has a claim, the adjuster that comes on the yard, right? This is now a person that's going to take care of this catastrophe for them, and it spreads way beyond just what we are.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Tim Friesen, Lakeview Insurance here at the Prairie Livestock Expo, and it's so interesting to be able to visit with people that continue to be involved in the agricultural industry, and as I've always said, agriculture, being a farmer and involved in farm support, has to do with being part of a basic industry that feeds the world. So this is Harry Siemens for now. We'll be back with more interviews right after these messages.